Good morning, class. Today we have some video notes about energy transformations. We've been talking about different types of energy, kinetic and potential, and how the energy transforms back and forth and back and forth. And we've also been talking about the law of conservation of energy and how energy is never created or destroyed; it just simply changes form. So today we're going to look at those energy transformations. So if you take a look at this picture here, we have a match that's burning. And the questions I have here, it says, what is happening to the energy in the picture? What does it start as and what does it end as? So if we think about a match, the tip of a match, before it's lit, there is some chemicals in there. There's things that can cause it to light and then burn. So we would say that this is chemical energy, and as it burns, we know that that chemical energy then turns into two other types, which would be thermal in heat and radiant in light. So that's kind of what we're looking at today is how does energy transform from one form to another, and how do we view that. So you should have your notes in front of you, and I will prompt you to stop and take notes as we go. Okay, so this first definition you're going to have to write down says energy transfer. Make sure you write this at the top of your notes. It says the change of one form of energy into another. Pretty simple. Energy changing from one form to another. So underneath that I have your first example, which is a toaster. So if you think about a toaster, toaster's plugged into an outlet. This is an electrical cord, and that electrical cord provides electricity to this toaster. So you can think about what a toaster starts out as. It starts out as electrical energy coming from the electrical outlet and coming into the toaster. And then once it's in the toaster, it turns into two other types. Think about if you've ever seen a toaster, which I hope you have, you can see those wires that get really, really red, and you can also feel some heat. So the type of energy transfer here is this. It's electrical energy from the wall outlet, and then once it gets in the toaster, it turns into heat, which is thermal, and radiant, which we can see. So fill this in your notes right now. Okay, next one is a candle that's burning. Take a look at this picture. This candle is made of wax. Wax is a very oily substance, and we can use that oily substance in there to turn it into other types of energy. So think about that oily substance in a candle. That is chemical energy, and when we light a wick in there, it burns that chemical energy and turns it into kind of like the match that we saw at the beginning. So a candle burning would be chemical to radiant and thermal, right? We can see the light coming off the wick, and we can feel the heat coming off of the candle as well. So let's get this written in our notes. The third type here, the third example I have is tree growing fruit. This one is a little bit more complicated, but still pretty simple. If you think about a tree growing fruit, this is an apple tree. The source of all energy for all plants is always going to be the sun. So if we think about the sun here, it's giving off radiant energy. Now, I know that's giving off thermal as well, but a tree does not use heat to grow fruit. It uses radiant energy. So it starts out as radiant in the sun, and as it comes down to the tree, it turns into a different type. If you think about what type of energy is in an apple, hopefully you guys know that that's chemical energy. So this transfer is pretty easy. It's radiant from the sun, and it turns into chemical energy in the fruit, in the tree. So let's get this written in our notes. Okay, I have these four to do on your own. You have a light bulb, a person running, playing a violin, and a windmill turning. So think about what type of energy does it start as, and what does it end as. So when you turn a light bulb, where's the energy coming from, and what does it turn into? When a person runs, where do they get their energy, and what do they turn it into? When you play a violin, what type of energy comes out of that? And then think about where does a windmill get its energy from. Now, some of these can be the same. It starts as one and ends at the same one. So that can happen. So pause the video now and see if you can't fill these in correctly. Okay, so this is your last big example of the day. This is what we call a multi-energy transformation. So you have multiple steps here, multi-step energy transformation. So let's start with the sun here. Think about what type of energy is in the sun. And the sun is going to shine on this solar panel. Think about what's in the solar panel. Or what does the solar panel turn that energy into? Then you have a toaster, again, the toaster that's plugged into an outlet that was powered by a solar panel. Think about what type of energy might come out of this toaster. Think about toast. What type of energy does this toast have? And then a person who's running. So let's see if we can't figure out what type of energy is behind each of these. I would recommend that you pause the video and see if you can't identify those correct types of energy. Okay, so if we talk about the sun is radiant. When the sun shines on the solar panel, that solar panel turns that energy into electrical. We know that solar panels provide electricity. If a toaster is plugged into that electrical, it's going to turn that into thermal, which is heat, right, which toasts our bread. In the bread, we have, in the toast, we now have chemical, right, because we can eat that and turn it into mechanical energy, which is the movement of this person. So pause the video and get these written in your notes. This will be very helpful for you. All right, so that's pretty much it for transformations and notes. The next item on your list should be to turn in your notes to me and then to start your gizmo. Your gizmo is linked on that HyperDoc. You should have the instruction sheet. Make sure you follow explicitly. That is due at the end of class. And you'll turn that in to me as well. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. And good luck.